paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, it's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
Hello, everybody. Welcome in to Brainstorm Brewery. The four of us are here and ready to cast. I don't know, if you're on YouTube, of course, as you should be watching, as he casts pressing that cold monster to her forehead. That's how we all feel after.
Say can of energy drink. Monster doesn't pay us. Until Monster pays us, that is a can of energy drink.
It's the can of unnamed energy drink.
Good point.
Yeah, there you go.
Good point.
It's very tasty. I just wish I could say what it was.
Yep, I'm drinking.
JJ's got to just blur that out a little bit.
Of soda.
I got an important question for the cast, everybody. Who here has seen the greatest film of all time, Mickey 17?
No.
I saw
It's
it.
on my list, which is to say I'll never watch it.
I called it Bong Moon Ho before I saw it because it seemed very close to Duncan Jones's Moon, but it actually really treads some new ground, and you can tell that Bong Joon-ho is really getting sick of American audiences because he's like, I will have the only black character in this movie shout the point of the movie at the white protagonist, and he will like get it in real time, and that is how I will make sure that the smartest 1% of American audiences will understand this film, and I really appreciated the assist. So naturally,
DJ?
it has gone over people's heads.
If you don't see this movie in theaters, DJ, you are wasting your entire existence on this earth.
Well, that's fair.
In theaters? I went to
Yeah,
a
see
theater
it
last
IMAX.
night.
See it IMAX.
It's been a while since I went to movie taverns. That's
I
fair.
went and saw
It's
Captain
really good.
America for the second time last night. I went to a theater.
That's tough, Corbin. I'm sorry.
Why?
You should see
The
Mickey
second
17.
one's
It's
an
a
unforced
cinematic
error.
masterpiece.
I went with Ben.
You knew better
It
the
is
second
like-
time.
I liked it.
Jason put it well. It's treading new ground. We're watching Robert Pattinson in real time become the weird old dude actor of this generation. He's gonna be the next Willem Dafoe. Like it's
honestly,
certainly going to happen.
the second he stopped doing Harry Potter, both him and what's his name, Dan and Harry Potter were like, we can do whatever we want now. Let's just
No.
only do weird.
No, that's wrong.
He did Twilight for money.
Yes.
Who cares?
That's why he can do the weird. It wasn't Harry Potter, which he was in one movie of. It was
He had that
Harry
that
Potter.
Harry Potter Skrilla, dog.
Harry Potter got him Twilight, which he then did for a further many years.
No,
before
I'm saying
getting the
that
like
he
you're mixing up
was-
15 years of a biography of a person I don't care
No,
even a little
he-
about.
He
I
got
hate
the idea
this.
from
I hate
Radcliffe.
me.
That's
I hate
what I'm
me.
saying.
I
That's
hate
where
me
they
so
met
much.
on that set, you dude.
I hate me so much. All right, on to Magic the Gathering, where we are going to talk about what we were up to over the weekend. I commentated an NRG tournament. I got to watch Dimir Demons take over the Pioneer format. There was a lot of that. A lot of red in Standard. A lot of Breach finding success. Not necessarily that many people playing it across the pond in Europe. Largely, I imagine, because people expected it to get banned. So that's sort of your in 10 seconds Magic update. Cass, though, you actually were playing Magic over the weekend. How did that go?
I was. So it all starts on Friday afternoon. I decided that I wanted to make pasta. So I got some flour and some eggs and a little olive oil, and I started kneading the dough, and I realized I'm making pasta. What do you do when you make pasta? Is you drink wine. And so I found this. We had this nice bottle of red wine we cracked open. It was like a semi-sweet, tasted like blackberries. Beautiful wine. Drank too much of it. Got trashed, made pasta. It turned out only okay. Wake up the next morning, maybe the most hungover I've ever been because I'm old, and I say in a local Discord, hey, does anybody have a deck for me? I'd like to play the RCQ today. Local hero Jarvis Yu says, I have Esper Pixie for you. I show up, he hands me the deck. I have not really played it ever before. I proceed to only lose to Jarvis in round 3 and win all of my other matches. The deck is an easy deck for babies. I'm the greatest Magic player to ever live, and I'm now qualified for Minneapolis. There was a moment in, I want to say round 2, where I drew a pest control, but it was in Japanese, and I didn't know what it did, and I was too hungover to call a judge, so I just cycled it. And I drew into a This Time Ain't Big Enough, which also killed my opponent. So Playing on my A game.
Never punished, made the right
Can't
play.
you just pretend that was just you dunking on him? It's like, I don't even need this win condition.
It's funnier if I don't know what my card does and I dunk on them.
I agree.
Also, Corbin is muted.
He's muted because he's yelling at his kids.
I was talking to them, yeah. My first ever big tournament was a Legacy SCG event back in the day, way back in the day. And I had the same, someone handed me the deck they didn't want, which of course was Merfolk, but I spent most of the day beating my opponents while asking them what colors their dual lands made, because I'd never played in a Legacy tournament, and dual lands were just a thing that existed as, oh, those are like $80. I hope I see one of those one day, you know, like... Legacy was just this wild thing that didn't exist to me playing my Bloodbraid Elves in Standard, trying to play budget decks, you know. But yeah, just spent all day. Oh, Tundra, is that black white? Is that that one's an island? That's an island though. I wasn't trolling.
So you can't.
Island Walk?
I wasn't
Island
trolling.
Walk?
This is
Island Walk
11
technique?
unblockable damage. I'm so good at this.
Your opponent was the Buffalo Wild Wings employee, and you were the potion on the phone. Oh, does that Tundra make blue?
Well, I had no
Tundra
idea.
make blue?
So I had no.
Is it normal for creatures to be unblockable? I'm just wondering if that's a special thing where these creatures attack.
Sauce is a secret to good wings. Clearly.
I was really stumbling my way through counterspell interactions at that point. I'll tell you that. Playing Days and Force of Wills and Ether Vials and at that point we would have been playing ports. I imagine.
Were you
Wastelands were played at least anyway.
Was
It was a
Mental
lot of
Misstep
new
around
stuff.
yet?
I'm sorry.
Was Mental Misstep around yet?
No, this was the first SCG of the first Legacy event after Survival was banned.
Gotcha.
Was the one
Okay.
I made the finals of.
The one time I
Kickstarted my
played
competitive career.
Merfolk in a tournament was the Mental Misstep being legal. Like 4 Mental Missteps in my Merfolk deck. My Aether Vials never resolved, but their Swords to Plowshares never resolved, so it was fine.
Yeah. Yeah, misstep days were something.
Misstep days were so up that the Bant deck cut Force of Will and only ran Misstep because they're like, when's the last time I Force of Willed something that didn't cost 1 mana?
Yeah, one of the interesting things too, and Brian Brown wrote a lot about this back in the day, is of like that Mental Misstep forced Legacy to become better. People were just kind of doing things before, and Mental Misstep was so blindingly efficient that the efficient decks became so much more efficient with it that everyone else had to basically improve. Like, in the whole format leveled up so that when Mental Misstep was banned, the format didn't go back to being what it was before Mental Misstep. It had changed even once you removed the card.
The other big thing that Mental Misstep did was it revealed how good Ancient Tomb and City of Traders are.
Yeah.
Because when Mental Misstep was around, all the combo decks were Four Horsemen, or Sneak and Show actually got its first open win back in that era. It was like Blightsteel Colossus and Gristlebrand, maybe. I'm not even sure Gristlebrand was around for that one. But
Emrakul, wasn't it? Wasn't Emrakul at first?
It was Emrakul and Blightsteel Colossus, and it was like the Richmond SCG
and Chancellor of the Annex.
Oh, I love.
I'm not sure that was in
one.
that deck, but
Loved that card.
people learning
Is
that
that the
Ancient
white
Tomb is
one that
super
made their
broken.
counterspells cost more? Oh,
No. It taxed the first spell. If you revealed it,
yeah.
it taxed the first spell. So then if you...
yeah, so they couldn't force a will.
They couldn't force you, yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Sick.
What were you playing back then, Cass?
I played Merfolk for that Richmond Open that Sneak and Show won.
Uh-huh.
More commonly, I was playing Reanimator back then, because just like Blueback Reanimator was really strong.
It was fun back then.
I remember playing it at the Grand Prix DC where True Name Nemesis was $100 at the vendors. I remember my round one opponent. We have like a couple turns of just like cantripping and thought seizing my turn. On turn 3, my opponent slams a True Name Nemesis and passes, and I go, huh. All right, I'm gonna cast Entomb. All right, I'm gonna reanimate this Gristlebrand. All right, I'll draw 7. I'll play a land. I'll play a Lotus Petal. I'll cast Entomb. I'll exhume this Elishnorn. Oh, your true name's dead. Go ahead. Oh, you vindicated my Gristlebrand. Cool. Well, I'll just reanimate that.
Nice Stoneblade deck, yeah.
Yeah. Those were the
Magic's
days. Those were the days.
fun.
Legacy was so simple back then. The combo decks weren't even good.
That's exactly right. That is.
Oh my god! And
exactly
people were
right.
writing like 2,000-word essays on SCG about like whether you should run one Xantid Swarm in your sideboard or two, and just like, is it 2 Duress and 1 Thoughtseize, or and it's just
Hey, back then, you had to get an SCG article out every week. And you know what? There's a lot of drivel out there.
Legacy
but there's
didn't
also
do
a lot of heat.
every week. Yeah,
There's a lot of heat.
And they were getting paid a lot of money. Those premium authors were back then.
In
I
2000
thought reading
$9
2,000 words
nonetheless.
about Xantid Swarm was worth it at the time.
I mean,
I
that
did.
was
I paid for SCG Premium, so maybe
a whole
I'm
bunch
big
of people
dumb
did
soul.
until a bunch of people didn't. Yeah, the paywall in Magic for a company doesn't seem to work. Like Channel Fireball attempted that model at some point, some number of takeovers in, and it didn't work then either. And now Channel Fireball exists.
I
as
think
a
don't
corner
take
of
things
TCG
away. Just
player.
offer premium stuff for more. So like the base experience is still very good. That's what I
It's-
think you got to do.
It's tough to grow that if you don't already have an established base. Something I have noticed, actually, as new card games enter the scene, I've been notably dabbling a little bit again with the new Star Wars card game, and there's just, like, no good written content for any card game anymore.
Cardgamer.com is
Oh yeah, because it's all
pulling a
like
lot of weight, yeah.
just 1 minute
It's
increment TikTok bits, right? It's
Well, it's
just
either short form video, it's long form video, or it's listicles. There's like
Yep.
for games like Magic and Pokemon games that have been around long enough, there is still good written content because we've had it for so long.
But
like
it never
new
developed.
games have nothing.
Yeah, it never developed. The infrastructure never developed for anything.
I'm like,
this is what we're trying
I'm
to
trying
do
to find like
Cardgamer.
an MTG Goldfish for the Star Wars game, and the best thing I get is one website that will update. They update once a month, and it's like, here's the top decks, and I think none of them are top decks.
Yeah.
Like on Card Gamer, we found that there's no like real hub for the information. Like sometimes like the only information out there is like the Bondi website or some shit like that. It's just like weird places. It would be good to have like sideboarding guides and all that kind of stuff. So like literally that's why we bought Card Gamer, was to have a place to put that kind of stuff. So we're currently hiring basically every card game, and like tabletop. So like we are hiring people for Hearthstone and Moto and all kind of stuff. So, hopefully once we kind of like establish a rhythm of putting these guides out there, we'll try to hit some of these other games. Cause like, you're right, Pokemon and Magic, it's so dense. And like, I think more people would play these other games if there were just the resources out there.
Yeah.
Like there's Fabrer is just such a tremendous resource, but that was like, that was another fan thing. So, Card Gamer, I think is the place to check at least. Like, but if you have any specific advice, that I'm the guy to talk to about it.
You got to send your resumes and your feet pictures to jasonalt@cardgamer.net.
Ugh. Please no female feet pics. I don't like them shaved. I like them natural.
Fellas, this is your time to shine.
Jesus Christ! if I get one dude's feet pic, that's
At
gonna be.
Jason Alt.
It'll make all the jokes
Jason
I
Alt at
ever made
cardgamer.net.
not worth
Send
it.
them over.
Oh, I'm not gonna open any attachment. So like, don't send me a resume because I'm not gonna open it because it could be a feet pic. So I'm.
Label your resume hairy feet pictures for Jason.
And label your feet pics definitely not feet pics. And then he'll be so confused by the switch about that he'll
It's like
see
one of those
the
coin
feet.
flip subreddits.
Yeah. Oh, 50-50.
Label
I
your-
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Label your resume May 2025 resume. Label your feet pics with that.
Here's how I feel about your resume. I would almost rather see a pic of a dude's foot than see your stupid resume. I don't care.
You just said you're trying to hire people, Jason.
Yeah, but I don't want to read a resume. I want to read an article that you wrote.
That's fair, actually. Wait, like
Pay people for writing samples, dog.
There you go.
Resume. Would I get a job if someone saw my resume? Would I get a job as a writer? Definitely not. I never sent anybody a resume to get a job as a writer because they're not going to hire a dude with a BS in chemistry. So, like,
There is something
Send me an
to be
article.
said for websites that make a model out of asking people for number of samples, right? So there is I think rightfully pushback as there should be. In fact, there should probably be more of to people for doing unpaid work.
I think that if a company asks you for samples of your work, they should simply purchase the rights to use that work as their own. If they decide to publish it and hire you, great.
Exactly.
If they decide to not hire you and publish it, great. They paid you for your work.
Because they should just be
pay
paying for
people
your
for
first
that,
article. And if it is good enough to get published, great. And if it's not, then that is what it is. They still hired you to
If I could segue, when I hired people at well, I guess I'm doing it again soon. My hiring process is you send a couple emails, feel them out, and when they have the idea that you want to see if they can execute, you have them write it up. Because even if they can't write mechanically perfectly, I think a good idea is sometimes even better than a good writer, and is a good premise for an article series is almost harder to come by than a good writer. So sometimes it's sort of man, we can spend an extra half hour editing this versus, so we don't always, nothing that's going to appear on a resume is going to tell me if you could write something that if not good enough to publish right away is capable of being massaged into something that would be a good product every week.
Yeah,
so
a lot of the best
that
Magic,
was my process.
A lot of the best Magic players in the world, shockingly, are not what you would call good writers. The more Twitter
followers they have, the their article is going to be.
A lot of the content, the best content, even great, content over the years has taken a lot of editing work from some of the best pros. I can tell you that. But that's like you said. That's if you are putting the work in to put the information down, it is in fact the other, to an extent, the editor's job and the website's job to make it publishable.
Yep.
But yeah. All right. Well, that is the difference.
Speaking of editing, JJ's going to have to do a lot of that on Corbin's children causing a
I don't
tantrum.
know. Why the fuck aren't your kids afraid of you? I was casting. I had my show last night from 7 to 9, and the kids' bedtime is during that. So Soren very gingerly tiptoed downstairs, handed me this. This is Bob and Tob. They're friends. I think I am Bob. So anyway, yeah. He handed me this, and then I kind of went out of frame a little bit and said, "Good night, buddy," and that was it. And then he tiptoed back upstairs, and because he's afraid to make a loud noise while I'm podcasting, because I do a good job parenting. I don't know why your children aren't scared of you.
Yeah, my 3-year-old doesn't live in fear of me, so he's just
he's 3? Oh, I forgot that. Yeah, 3-year-olds are ungovernable.
playing with his toys, to be honest.
Yeah.
Pretty happy.
Speaking of editing, let's edit this podcast right into Breaking Bolt.
Breaking Bolt time. Breaking Bolt time. Break.
Oh, yeah, Breaking Bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking Bulk. The end.
I'm going to start this Breaking Bulk off by hijacking it slightly to give you a pick of the week.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
And that pick of the week is MTGstocks.com. I see your face, DJ. The disbelief for how good this setup was. That is where you should go, is MTGstocks.com. It's the best financial source for Magic the Gathering news on the internet as far as finance goes. It knocked DJ back in his seat there. It's so good, as a matter of fact.
Corbin, it's bad when you make your words hurt people. It's worse when you do it unintentionally.
Yeah, Corbin is mad that DJ drove the RV for a half hour while he was napping, so he made us go to the world's largest ball of yarn. That is what just happened. He was so incensed that someone else wanted to drive.
I watched a bit yesterday that a TV host on a sports show did about how they drove past the house of William McKinley and how they realized that, I should go see that, right? And then they realized, I think I'd be more excited to see a Target. And I think about that sometimes when I'm doing this show. That's all.
Are we the target of roadside attractions? What the fuck
Or
are
we
you talking
the
about?
boyhood home of the late President William McKinley?
Are we? I just want you to stop saying odd shit.
Which one are we?
Like you
He
smell
doesn't
a
know.
psycho's fear.
Did you know that William McKinley popularized the word okay?
Unsubscribe.
I also listen to
Okay
What Other
means
Names
all
Teach You
clear,
Things.
doesn't it? Okay means
What's
all
that
clear.
podcast you're referencing there, Corbin? It's Someone and Someone Teach You Something.
It's just YouTube sports. I'm just passing on sports knowledge, you know.
We got a fanciful critter here, Corbin Hostler.
All right, we're starting
Yes,
drug testing next week.
Let's not forget, last week he learned what caramel was, and now he's full of trivia.
Wait, what
That
is
didn't make the
forgot
cast.
about
No,
That
that's
didn't make the
false.
cast.
No, I learned what caramel was.
That didn't make the cast?
It didn't. It got cut.
What?
JJ put
Why?
that in an after hours, but it wasn't in the episode I listened.
Oh, that should be in the
Oh.
show.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
should've
no,
been
no,
in
I
the
told
show.
him no
That's
to
like-
listen, and I figured it out. Everybody at home listening to this right now, wondering what the hell we're talking about, I told JJ to put it in the after hours and then put it in the show later to show people what the after hours are like. So there you go, everybody. It's a tease.
Well, he can put it in this week's episode.
Nah, you got to put that in a few weeks from now. It's worth it, though, I guess. I learned something new, and these guys, they make fun of me for learning something new.
We didn't make fun of you for learning something new.
I didn't
We
make fun of
made
you for
fun of
learning
you for
something
not
new.
knowing
I made fun
something.
of you for the way in which you responded to receiving new information.
By being happy to learn new things. It's like a trivia game. It's win-win. If you win, you're a winner, and if you lose, you learn something new. I'm objectively correct. And when you're right, you can't be wrong.
I quit this podcast. I hate
When
all
you're
of you.
right, you
Fuck
can't
you, I'm
be
gone.
wrong. I'm gonna put that on your tombstone after I murder you.
Well,
That'll be good on the that'll be good for like an after hours bit, right? We'll opener for the after hours this week.
yeah, let's do
They'll
some
just make
breaking
it
bulk.
harder to sync your video and audio is what
Let's
I
do
think.
some breaking bulk. Who knew? Who knew? I have a breaking.
I'm going to ruin Corbin with this breaking bulk. I think. Maybe Jason too.
This is a hijacking. Everyone get on the floor. Give me your wallet. So we're going to do pick of the week first.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
That's right. This is a hijacking. I'm driving the bus. I'm sick of DJ taking it by force or Corbin saying, oh, actually, no, we are doing our pick of the week. My pick of the week is Mjolnir Stormhammer. It's only around $3, but I think with the sensational Spider-Man, people are going to build anything that has stun counters. Mjolnir references stun counters. If Captain America can make a 12 mana Excalibur like $25 for a little bit, I think Mjolnir is in play. There's not a ton of Assassin's Creed stuff. So like, I'm not saying it's the same price trajectory as Excalibur. I don't think that many people are going to actually build the stupid Spider-Man, but so what? Not that many people built Captain America either. So I think Mjolnir is in play, and it's current like $3. It's too cheap. Every rare from Assassin's Creed is too cheap.
I think that we're gonna see a lot of these like Marvel Commander related things really pop when the set comes out, and so I think even though a lot of people haven't built the previous Captain America yet, they're going to.
Yep. So having that stuff in stock, you actually have time to buy slowly and not panicked. So you can shop around for deals. You can buy from individual sources and wait for them all to show up. And when the card actually does pop, you will actually have them instead of waiting for them to be in the mail or your sale got canceled because the price went up. You got to buy these before everybody notices. I think people haven't noticed Mjolnir yet. That's my pick of the week. Do I sit back in my seat or do I keep driving?
It's breaking bulk.
No,
Or do you
I
pick of the week,
hijacked.
apparently.
I hijacked the bus.
I got a pick of the week.
What's your pick of the week?
I'm sure.
Pick of the week is Eldrazi Temple.
Ooh,
We're gonna see Underworld Breach probably eat a ban in a couple weeks here. And without the broken combo deck in the format, we might see a little more resurgence of these black-white mid-range decks and potentially some energy. And the red-green Eldrazi deck is pretty good against both of those. Eldrazi Temples are around $5 right now. I think that if we see an uptick in a deck playing 4 of them in Modern, we could see that card hit $10 again. Supply isn't huge on it. It was an uncommon originally, and again in Modern Masters 2015. And then again, it was in the Horizons 3 Commander deck, so that's kind of it. And those are all 3 pretty small print runs relative to many other comparable cards.
let me ask you about the rest of the deck.
Yeah, what's
Is
up?
there anything else in the rest of the deck that somebody would be likely to have in their collection if they were just like trying to keep like a collection to build modern decks, or is it really specialized stuff?
So we can do my breaking bulk now too if you want.
No.
All the
No!
segments have been
Sit back down in your
homogenized
seat!
and shattered and melded into a
No.
goop of.
We are not having a fourth hijack. I am driving the bus,
Here.
and we are going to
This is
Cuba.
Here's a full copy of Red Green Eldrazi as it stands of Regional Championship Starlet Jason. Just take a look.
What else is in play if that card goes up? What else do you think from that deck is also good to buy now
Cosmic's
if people don't have it
Return is
already?
Cosmic's Return is a card that I've picked before on the cast that I think is a card that has room to go up, and it already did. It's already up to like $8. Utopia Sprawl is a 4 from that deck. That card doesn't need a lot of additional pressure to increase in price at all.
For sure.
I've actually picked like 5 or 6 cards from this deck over the last couple of months because like I really believe it. I played it at the RC, right? Trying to think what else. Sowing Mycospawn is like $5. That card's messed up.
That card is very messed up.
I mean, Ugin's Labyrinth is the mythic for Modern Horizons 3 that like if this becomes the best deck at any point and people haven't opened Modern Horizons 3 in a while, like that becomes like a $50 card, right? Emrakul the Promised End just got a reprint, so don't feel great about that. I don't think Karn stays in the deck after a reprint or after a Breach goes. Kozilek's Command is the other Modern Horizons 3 card that sees playing.
That's probably too cheap. Also,
Well, that card is
it's like
busted.
$10 almost.
oh, is it really?
I don't
Yeah,
know
card's
what's
actually
correct
expensive.
for it, but that card's busted.
I feel like
I think it might be the individually strongest card in Modern Horizons 3 besides Nadu. Like Kozilek's Command is so strong.
I thought that was like $7. I don't know.
Does that mean I'm
Jason
am I
doesn't
doing
know
pick of-
prices is a new bit.
Am I doing pick of the week or breaking bulk? I don't know.
You're doing pick of the week, dude.
I don't
unless
know.
you want to,
Okay.
unless you want this bus to go off a cliff.
Does the bus have Corbin in it?
You're in the bus.
That's irrelevant.
Yes. We don't care.
If there's urine in the bus, Corbin was here. Yeah.
It's funny. My kids are yelling me at me about pee right now as well.
That's not funny. You should be podcasting and not talking to your children. You should be more afraid
A
of you.
charmed life, Corbin Hostler.
They'd be yelling. Then they'd be yelling at you about pee.
My pick of the week has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 printings, and pretty much all of them are just minuscule. And it is Dragon Speaker Shaman. This is the original Dragon Reduction Cost card from Scourge.
Yeah, like
Scourge,
should
however you wanna
Knights
pronounce it.
versus Dragons count as a reprint? Because they were 11 Knights versus Dragon decks printed.
Magic Game Night Free for All, Arch Enemy, Starter Commander decks. This card has plenty of super high supply reprints. After its Jumpstart reprinting, it went down to bulk, and it has slowly climbed up to around $1.50. And
Oh,
I
damn.
think this card will be $3, $5. Tarkir's Dragonstorm's going to have dragons in it. Even if Tarkir Dragonstorm doesn't push this, I still think that long-term demand of dragons, like you can keep this for a spike or you can keep it for a slow climb. I think this card is poised to go up in either of those conditions, especially because I think Tarkir Dragonstorm will be overshadowed a lot by the Universes Beyond stuff, just like how standard sets were last year. And like if you buy these at $1.50 and you hold on to them for a year, I think that's fine. If you buy them and they go to $5, just sell them all. I think it's great either way.
Also, it's worth pointing out that the number 2 EDH rec deck is Ur-Dragon and number 10 is Miram Sentinel Worm. So, like, you don't even need a new dragon set for dragons to just
That's what
always
I mean.
be
Yeah,
popular.
like even if Tarkir doesn't pop off, this card will just get soaked up eventually.
It's a dragon, yeah.
My pick of the week this week is Flawless Maneuver. This was just reprinted in Commander. I say just, I guess it was 2 years ago now. And Phyrexial will be one. And all versions of it, the cheapest has climbed up from about $10 over the beginning of the year up to 11, almost 12 now. And all of it's just ticking up. Obviously, Flawless Maneuver being the cycle of free spells. It has a Secret Lair reprint in the Captain America. If you're into that. They're also around that same mark, around that $10 to $12 mark.
CK pays over retail on them, which is crazy.
Well,
That's
CK
pretty
knows
high,
something we
actually.
don't.
Or their algorithm just algorithmed, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Like
they
I'd
charge
wager
17 on it.
CK
Like, that's
knows
just-
nothing.
The rate
actually.
that they were selling at what they were charging meant the algo said you can push it.
Yeah. All right. Well, we talked last week, if you listened to the show, as of course you should, even if you didn't go to patreon.com/BSB to get those after hours, where we all learned about caramel. Some of us for the first time. Anyway, during that, we decided, hey, we like some of these games we used to play, or maybe we should play some more mini games, make this into a true Mario Party kind of vibe. And on that note, DJ has something called Slip Through Space, which he has not given us any more details of. So, DJ, take it away.
Okay, so I did tell you that I wasn't going to give you any information as to what those little title card things were that I put in there. The Slip Through Space thing is just a sub 30-second footnote that the list version of Slip Through Space is now $30 direct low. Slip Through Space
funny.
being the Oath of the Gatewatch common that makes a creature unblockable and you draw a card. There's this insane data gap here where the card is too cheap for TCG Player Direct to care about stocking it regularly, and the list printing only comes in the Secret Lair coin flip deck, which means that, you have to pay $30 if you want to get a direct version, and even just regular TCG low is $15 for Slip Through Space, so there's a lot of completed sales data too. That card is just this insane data anomaly.
Slip Through Space has Devoid, I believe.
It does.
That's all.
But, yeah.
Oh, I thought this was the podcast where we were a little bit pedantic. Okay.
I like it.
Okay.
Oh, it is that for sure.
I thought I'd get a laugh.
This is a real, I appreciate it. It's a real Summer Magic kind of situation, right? Where you have normal ass cards worth a ton of money.
All right. I do have a game, though. I did also put DJ's little Jigsaw-esque game in there.
Yeah, but you also just put Cat Dog with no explanation. So
Corbin, you'll get your explanation when I decide to give it to you.
but now you're going out of order, man. I'm just so lost.
Corbin, this
now we're going out of
podcast has
order,
been
says the guy who did
topsy-turvy.
Pick of the week first. Okay.
That
Also,
wasn't
get your
me.
Goddamn branded, get
That
your
was-
goddamn branded cup out
That
of
was
there.
just an ad read. Jason's the one who did that. I did the ad read as required.
I'll do it again.
MTGstocks messaged me and said, Corbin, you are required to make your pick of the week MTGstocks, but make it a surprise. That was the required ad read, and I'm pulling back the curtain to show everyone now that I did simply what was asked of me, and Jason is the hijacker.
Yes.
Oh, so you're just following orders, Corbin?
Origin is the one that doesn't know how to be a professional podcaster, not you.
Anyway, enough about that. My game, which is yet to be named, we have a tradition of viewers naming our games. I have 4 cards here. One of them is not a bulk rare.
All right, this is a good game.
I'm only
This is
going
a
to
good
give you
game.
the name of the card. Not a
Yes.
set,
Okay.
not
Is this
whatever.
not a bulk rare based on it's $30 on TCG Direct, even though there are 20-cent copies
No.
in stock,
Slip
or
Through
is this
Space is irrelevant. That this is not some weird data gotcha game.
Okay, yeah. No, this is a great game.
Okay.
I should say it just means it's not bulk. One of these is not bulk. They can be rare, mythic, uncommon, whatever.
Sure.
We have Grenzo Havoc Raver. Or Havoc Razor, sorry. Grenzo Havoc Razor.
Very good card, lots of printings.
Yeah, kind of bulky.
Hour of Promise.
That's the green one, I believe.
That is the green hour, yes.
Oh.
Garruk Apex Predator.
that a Mythic
White Sun's
Planeswalker?
Twilight.
Oh.
White Sun's Twilight?
White Sun's Twilight.
None of these are
Garruk
bulk.
Apex Predator.
White Sun's Twilight is not bulk, is my call.
There's no way Hour of Promise is bulk. That card's broken as hell.
That card's
Yeah, but it's
bulk.
got multiple printings, though.
It was just a Modern Horizons 3 Commander in the good deck.
I see.
Is Hour of Promise the one where you just get 2 lands?
You
Yes.
get yes.
If you have 2 deserts, you make zombies.
Yeah, that's a fuck magic card. But, again, lots of... Because Grenzo was, $25 at one point.
No, I don't
but,
think Grenzo's worth anything.
This is the
the one that makes the
exact...
toxic tokens, right?
This is the exact conversation I wanted this game to generate. I'm happy.
That's
Grenzo,
just
I
one
don't
that makes the
think's worth
toxic tokens, right?
Correct. Yes, it does.
Alright, that card's not bulk. That's my call.
Wait.
Card's probably like $4 or something.
Oh, I thought it was the one, the Grenzo. It's not the one that does something with the bottom of people's decks.
No,
No,
Grenzo
this is
Havoc
the
Razor's
mono
the
red
red
Grenzo.
goat one.
Oh.
Yeah, from Conspiracy Take the Crown or whatever. It was
Correct.
And like
Oh,
5 other commander
okay,
deck sense or something.
okay,
Yeah,
well,
it's
hold
been
up.
printed a lot since, for sure.
I was say I just bought some new Magic cards. Is it in here? For a game deck?
I'm pointing to the White Sun's Twilight.
White Sun's Twilight is probably... but Garrick's like a myth.
But what set was White
That
Sun's
guy's
Twilight
bulk.
from?
It's from
Phyrexia
Phyrexia
All
All Be One.
It's probably White Sun's because
Didn't
it's
sell great.
It's a Wrath. It's
Garrick
one of the
Apex
12
Predator,
Wraths
the
in
Ripple
Standard.
Foil is bulk.
Oh, that's gross.
Ugh.
That card is so bad now, unfortunately.
Isn't it like a 7-mana Planeswalker, though?
It
That card used to be like
It's the first Planeswalker.
$13 on Amazon.
First Planeswalker with 4 abilities, right? No. it
No, that
wouldn't
was
have
Jace the
been.
Mind
It would have been
Sculptor.
after Jace, but yeah, it was a big deal.
a
Literally,
decade
they
after
made a big
Jace.
card out of it.
Corbin,
Yeah, dude, that was great.
Jason, what's your answer?
I'm going to say Grenzo because Cass already said White Sun's Twilight.
No, that's probably White Sun's Twilight. It's a Wrath.
It is White Sun's Twilight. It's only $1.50, but it does still get there.
Well, that
The
counts.
reason I thought of this game is I was going through a stack of bulk rares that my Roka had hit, and Hour of Promise, Garuk, and Grenzo, all previously like $5 to $20 cards,
Yeah.
were all in the bulk rare pile, and I just...
I scanned a Progenitus with the TCG Player app, and it came up 70 cents, and I...
DJ, you might recall we played a game of Unsleeved Commander at MagicCon Philly
Yes.
like a year and a half ago. And I believe White Sun's Twilight killed 2 players in that game out of my Take a Penny, Leave a Penny Jeru deck.
That card is very strong. I
That
play
card
it in
bangs.
Excel.
That card's
Yeah.
great.
Great game, by the way, DJ. Good job. I'm
Yeah.
a fan of that one. And you
Big
at home,
ups.
if you like it, come up with a name for it. That's how we got Breaking Bulk and Pick of the Week, aptly named. Someone at home was like, I was thinking maybe you could call the segment where you do weekly picks. You could call it Picks of the Week. And that fun fact, that's how we named that segment. So if you have an idea for this segment, let us know.
Pick of the week. Pick of the week. Corbin's gonna send Jason pictures of his feet.
Do you want it? I got it's right here. Just right out of camera frame. I could just lift her up, My feet are currently...
I have a migraine, too, now.
I have some Band-Aids
We're the
on
Captain
my feet
America
because
of
I
Magic
stepped on
podcasts.
Legos.
We
My
sold
son
people
is-
a bill of goods. The trailer made it look cool, but it turns out...
Well, Red Hulk was cool. He's also on screen for all of 3 minutes. Like, the movie was mid. Speaking of mid, I finally, for the first time...
You thought it was mid that Red Hulk punched a guy with no super soldier serum, and, the guy was like, oh man, I slid back a little.
He punched his vibranium shield. And
That shield can't be pure vibranium, otherwise it wouldn't make a noise when you struck it.
I don't know, man. Here's what I do know. I recently picked up some first place foils for the first time. I got a bunch of new cards from the set, rounding out some of my commander decks. If you're watching on YouTube /
Oh man, that
Brainstorm
snake is
Brewery.
hot.
Yeah, the snake. Unfortunately, there's no crazy printings of it, but the snake's great in a deck. But look at
It's
this.
It's like an uncommon Trustani. That card's up.
Yeah, the card's really good. But look at these first place foils, people at home. What do you all think of them now that you've seen them in person, I assume?
I consider putting a gold forest and swamp and island in a deck just for decks where I have tutor for a basic, to have that be the first basic I find, because that would be real easy to find. I thought when we saw picks that looked yellow, I'm like, this is stupid as f-. And everyone's like, no, they look better in person. They actually do. I kind of like the gold treatment on, like Murganda Raceway or whatever. Some of the stuff that I would consider playing. If all the other stuff has a weird treatment, I'll throw in the gold stuff, but not if it's the only weird stuff in the deck.
That's kind of how I went about it too. I don't know.
And you couldn't do a whole gold deck either, because you're not gonna build a whole
So I guess here's the thing.
dissect constructed.
I don't actually know the difference between these two cards, because one of them has a text box or whatever, and one doesn't.
Yeah.
But the one that does not, I think the Merfolk looks really good. I think the wagon kind of does not.
I don't like any
One of them is the base art for a card. One of them is the showcase art for a card. That might be the difference.
Well, for me, it's just the border along the
Right.
Like,
I think the
yeah,
showcase
yeah,
cards
yeah.
have different borders.
Yeah, sure. I wish I had known.
I
would've
believe
thought
there's
a slightly
also
different one.
variations depending on where they were printed, which is insane that we still have this. But if you remember the masterpieces from Kaladesh, there are the European ones and the North American ones. I believe these have the same issue, but exacerbated, where you can buy the same card, 2 copies of it, and they will look very different, even though it is the same collector number, same foil, etc. Just based on where it was
and
printed.
here are what's interesting to me is I have a first place foil of an alt art lumbering world wagon here, then another alt art of it here, and then presumably there's another one that doesn't have a border but is gold, and then there's it's just a lot, man. A lot of different printings, right?
Yeah, I'm
Welcome
glad
to
I don't have
2020,
to.
I guess.
Well, it's not necessarily. I mean, yes, but I'm also just kind of talking about like what we think about them all. I did pick up this Sabsunin, which is an interesting piece of frog art. I will say that they look pretty good, right? Like I also picked up some Pokemon cards in this pile, and the Showcase Magic cards, they don't look out of place next to the Pokemon cards for what it's worth.
Well, Pokemon is a game designed to like snag the attention of 12-year-olds, so we've
Turns out
been
the
shiny
12-year-old
up.
brain is every brain.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it turns out the average American
12-year-old
reads
boy.
at a 12-year-old
Yeah.
level, yeah.
Well, also just like the average 12-year-old boy, the things that sell to that person probably sell to a 35-year-old boy as well.
I am just a 12-year-old boy with a 40-year-old
That's what I'm saying, man.
paycheck.
Like
Yeah.
boobs and video games, man. I think the same things still appeal, right? To young kids as they do adult men when it comes to advertising. Not young kids, but like teenager boys. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Sure do.
Anyway, that's a little aside, of course, for our breaking bulks, which is obviously the next segment we're going into here, as we always do at the end of the show.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, break and bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
Got a banger of a breaking bulk this week. It's a card that was previously not a breaking bulk for some reasons, and then it was a breaking bulk, and then it wasn't, and then it was. It has like 8 printings. It's originally a Mirrodin colorless uncommon.
Yeah, but there were hints. There were more hints to that. That's fine because
I'm giving a bunch of hints.
I
I'm
just
thinking,
smashed my
I'm
mic. Sorry, JJ. It
Wither
this.
Cloak. Whisper Silk
No.
Cloak.
No, let me make sure
Is
I got
it one of
all
the
these right.
artifact lands?
It is not an artifact land. I'm not being cheeky.
Those were Darksteel.
No, they're not.
Just Darksteel Forge, or
Artifact?
Darksteel Citadel rather.
Oh.
The other ones were Mirrodin.
Right, they were Mirrodin.
Voltaic Mirror or like the Untap Mirror. It's like pay 2 to untap something or.
Nope.
Voltaic Key.
Uncommon?
Colorless
uncommon,
uncommon
yep.
is what we got, yeah.
Oh, I shouldn't have guessed the artifact lands.
Voltaic
Those are
Key
uncommon.
was in...
I don't know, man. I didn't play
It was not Voltaic. It was,
Oh,
it was
Galvanic
originally in
Keys.
Mirrodin.
Galvanic Key.
Oh, it was originally in... Okay.
Yeah.
I think Galvanic Key was 5th on anyway.
You all
Is it
are,
an
you all
equipment?
are thinking
Serum
small.
tank.
No. Cool guess though.
It's not an equipment?
Serum powder.
That's a rare.
No,
Serum
it's
Powder's
a
a
rare.
rare.
You're a rare.
So I'm gonna kind of call it. And so part of the buried lead on this one is that all the versions of this card are seeing increase in value right now, not just the Mirrodin version, but Talisman of Impulse, the red-green one, which at one point was down to a quarter.
Yep.
There are direct listings for multiple different versions of it for above $3. One of the Doctor Who versions is like $4. It is played as a 4 of in the Modern Eldrazi deck, which
Yeah,
I
it's a
referenced
triome.
earlier.
Oh.
It's a triome that also, unlike many other things, it can make the green immediately, so it can allow you to cast a 1-mana spell when you play.
I like
I
the
had a
other
really cool
talismans
game.
more.
I had a really cool game where at the RC where I went turn 1, was it Forest Utopia Sprawl, name red, pass. Turn 2, I didn't have a second land, and I played Talisman, tap Talisman, enchant my forest again with Utopia Sprawl. The next turn, drew an Eldrazi Temple and had 7 mana.
Sick.
It is pretty sick, to be honest.
Talismans are good. That's why we were able to preview them.
No, I only had
But
6.
not the
I had
red
6,
green
but I
one.
could kick a Michael spawn and kill my opponent's land and find another Eldrazi symbol. That's what it was.
It's true. That was a Brainstorm Brewery preview card. Just like, Cat Dog is the secret lair. I know what it is now because I saw the Brainstorm Brewery preview card Escape to the Wilds in it.
It's true.
True.
You're
Both of them.
right on time, bud.
I'm a genius. I'm here.
We have
DJ, go ahead.
I am very curious. I think Jason is most likely to get this Breaking Bulk.
Ooh.
It is a March of the It is only in March of the Machine Commander, and it's a rare.
Oh, actually, I might know this one. Let's go.
Bulk? March on the Machine Commander? God damn it.
What color?
Color.
Any of that.
I think that gives it away, but
Why? Not to me.
white?
You should have played better within the rules
It's
of the
the
game.
$20
White.
vampire.
No.
Is it the dove?
Yes.
Yeah, nesting
Oh, that dove is
hawk or something.
Man, that was never bulk.
No, it was
I-
bulk. It was
But
bulk
people
when the set
think
first
it's
came
bulk
out.
because
It's like $20 now,
I
right?
found
Yeah.
3 of these in
What
a
is it?
pile
What's the name of the
I
card?
will sell you this box
Nesting-
of dollar cards recently.
Nesting
Nesting
Dovehawk.
dove something.
Nesting
Dovehawk,
Dovehawk is a
fucking
4-mana
magic
flying
card.
2/2. At the beginning of combat on your turn, populate. Whenever a creature token enters the battlefield under your control, it gets a +1 counter.
Oh, it's just an auto-populate immediately.
DJ, I
That's broken.
literally made fun of Levi for suggesting this card on our We Are Building a Deck that is $50 total. I roasted him so hard for saying Nesting Dovehawk.
You just
So
spent
like,
$20
I
of
never
your
would have
$50
picked a
on it.
card that was like, hey, well, this can't go in a budget deck. I never would have thought that was a break in bulk. But hey, sometimes $20 cards show up in your bulk because really, standard players don't give it. Right? A lot of times people just like, if it's not from the format they play, they just don't give it. So they'll just be like, yeah, this
no
is
one
Also,
has
Jason,
this, but,
card
yeah.
for the first year of its existence was like $1 to $3.
That's wild. That's wild. This
When
card
this
is
card came out in March of the Machine and Aftermath, it was $1. And then after
card-
Wilds of Eldraine, it was $12. Went
that
back
was
down
like
to
the
5.
worst possible time to be
The-
buying Magic products.
The real shtick with this card and the real thing that makes the rate on it so good is that if you ever copy this, make a token copy of it, you can populate that token copy and go nuts.
Yes, you sure can.
So because it's a creature that's growing ranks instead of an enchantment that's growing ranks, it's way
Yeah.
easier to make a token copy of it.
No, that checks out. Makes sense.
Yep.
Very strong. Okay, I will hop in here next with a card. I'm going back to a Forbidden set because Magic Bulk is hot again. And we're going to go back to Lorwyn soon enough. So I'm going to Shadowmoor here, which is, a form of Lorwyn anyway. I'm not fully up to date on that story. It's a multicolored uncommon.
Shadowmoor?
Yep.
Scar Scale Ritual.
No, it is, one of the colors is green. it's a multicolored
Guttural
set,
Response.
Nope.
Is it the other one, the red green
Metamorphose?
no, pyroclasm type thing?
It is not
Oh,
Magic
Fire
Fire
Spout.
Spout?
Yeah, that's a good
and
guess.
it is not
yeah.
Fire Spout, which is bulk.
Is it the green-white aura?
Shield of the Oversoul is common, I think.
Shield of
Yeah,
the
you're right.
Oversoul is a $3 common for what it's
Yeah.
worth.
Yeah.
And it's worth $3.
And that's got multiple
is it
praying. That's
the-
just a cool card.
Is it the elf, like the green-white Vigilance elf?
Nope, it's not a creature.
Oh, it's not a creature, and it's
You
Green
do know
X.
It's not weird. It's not like anything weird. You do know it, and it is a card that I guess I can look at the graph right now to tell you, but it's been in and out of bulk is my recollection. Yep, in fact, it has
so
recently
it's either
spiked.
green red or green white though. If it's from Shadowmoor, right?
Yeah, it's green-white. It recently spiked. It used to not be bulk, and then was bulk for
Mercy
years.
Killing.
It is. Yep, it's Mercy Killing.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
Mercy Killing.
love
is
that
I was just gonna list them all off. The ones I
Yeah,
could
Mercy
think
Killing is $2 again.
Yeah.
This was
Mercy
I-
Killing's $2.
Yeah, it was like $1 for a good
Wow.
while. I remember it being always, worth pulling as bulk back as far as when I started playing Magic. And then it was bulk. It was eventually in the list, and for the last several years, it's been worth nothing. But around Outlaws of Thunder Junction, it started spiking, and it is currently rising again, and it's at $2 and moving up. It's an $8 foil.
I think this is also this card has a
Voja
really,
Jaws of the Conclave was right around that time, wasn't it?
Probably. This card has a really unique position that it's one of the few ways that green and white have to give your opponent creatures.
Yeah.
It's also, it makes it makes the creature sacrifice. It doesn't destroy it. Target creature's controller sacrifices it. So that can be pretty relevant as well.
Aren't green and white the very best at giving your opponent creatures? They have like Beast Within, Generous Gift.
I mean, like,
Yeah, this gives them a lot, though.
But like, are other colors better at that?
The main thing I think of is like red for a lot of like everybody gets hasty goblin nonsense, or like Varchild and
Sure. Okay.
Varchild's War Raiders, and like
Yeah.
black for everyone gets zombies with Tombstone Stairwell. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
White's very much, but white very much is the color to me of
White
you
gives
lose
me
something,
stuff.
but you get something. Red is the color of everyone gets something. So I guess both are on there.
White has, I think, a Varchild too, with giving people tokens.
White does have all of like the Beast Within effects. Yeah.
Green had the
Except for Beast Within.
Hunted Horror line exists. Green also had Feasting Troll
all the
King.
colors have hunted things.
Yeah, Feasting
Yeah.
Troll King. Is that the one? The,
No,
not
Crime
one-
Prince Troll is the one that gives your
the one
opponent
that
white
the
goats.
one the goat the one that
black
gave them
Troll,
goats.
yeah.
The Eldraine card that gave them goats.
Yeah,
Fine.
The
Crime
Hunted
Prince Troll.
Cycle was really cool. I liked that.
Anyway, it's thinking through. That's kind of fun. Obviously, white has a number of cards that like give your opponent like a wall or something weird, right? Like thinking of some random old commander cards. Anyway, okay, that is my pick of the week. Anyway, all right, Jason, you get to wrap it up. What is your breaking bulk? I'm sure we'll guess it instantly this week.
Maybe. This is some haunted house nonsense. It is a Duskmorn blue uncommon.
Fear of Isolation.
Nope.
This
Flood
town
Pitch
ain't.
Drowner.
It is Flood Pit's Drowner.
I was not gonna get it, so
That card is
I
very
would.
strong in Standard, and I did have it
And-
played against me in Modern at the Regional Championship.
It's a Merfolk.
Oh. And it references stun counters, which the Sensational Spider-Man
Oh, interesting. Okay.
also references. So both of my picks, my breaking bulk and pick of the week, were courtesy of MTGstocks and EDH Rec, where I found out that people are building Sensational Spider-Man more than the other Spider-Man decks that have been spoiled. And despite it being really simple to build, you just put all the stun counter shit. The stuff that's obvious that bore me as like a deck builder, it's kind of attractive to me as a financier. So like anytime I see a deck that kind of like bores me like Atraxa, I'm just like, Jesus, Atraxa. You know that's going to be a huge hit. So I think people are probably going to build a lot of Spider-Man, and stun counters are going to... This won't be the only Spider-Man nor the best one, but Sensational Spider-Man references stun counters. I think it'd be cool to build around that, and there's some cool cards that give stun counters, you know, like,
I
Watcher in
think-
the Water.
have they errated a bunch of stuff to give stun counters? Like any of the frost effects of tap it, doesn't untap? Did that get errated to have stun counters?
I don't
I'll check.
Think so.
I don't think so, but
Watcher in the Water, the showcase version of it, has been spiking really hard. The
That's
border
because it's
the
like-
earliest cards to
Kraken.
reference stun counters are from Dominaria United, so...
Okay.
I'm going to throw out a theory and see what you all think of it. I think part of the reason you might see people flocking to something like Spider-Man and stun counters is not because they're just in love with the idea of tapping down their opponent's things with stun counters, but because it's just like a pretty unexplored space in Magic, and
Yeah, for
no
sure.
one has ever
Yeah.
built a stun counter deck before. So they're putting...
Yeah, they have. Hilda the Icy Crown was a stun counter
Sure,
deck.
but like, okay, when I say no one, I mean like most of the people building this Spider-Man deck probably don't have a Hilda deck, right? Like they probably
for sure.
They're doing this for the first time, and it's something they've never done in Magic, and there aren't actually just infinite stun counter cards, so you're not just taking a list of the 30 of the best 50 stun counter cards and playing them. You probably have to stretch a little bit if you
gotta
actually
play
want
all
to
of
get to
them.
playable cards.
Proliferating stun counters, by the way, goes crazy.
Yeah.
This is basically the same symptom of Crumbling Ashes spikes when Hapatra gets released. The first -1/-1 counter in a long time, and
Yeah.
we have all these older cards that we suddenly want, and it's it's not like a brand new design space, but it is, you're right, it's the first time in a while that this kind of thing is getting used. It's
kind of like dragons, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's
people
like
putting
Dragon
dice on
Speaker
things.
Shaman spiking again, right? Like, it's not like Dragon Speaker Shaman took anyone by surprise, or the fact that they're doing dragons took anyone, but it's just, just how it works. Like, the Magic community turns over within every couple of years, and the player base just kind of evolves.
And most of our job is to just remind people of stuff that they would be capable of thinking if they just like tracked it. But we're just like paying attention to this.
Well,
shit
that
for
we've
you.
been doing it.
That's all we're
We've
doing.
been doing this whole
Mjolnir's
time.
$3. It shouldn't be.
Our not all of our listeners, of course, can just remember like, oh, this is exactly like this thing from 9 years ago, right? Like, that's just something.
This is our job,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is our job thanks to people who go to patreon.com/BSB. That's why we're able to make this podcast. Truly, with no exaggeration, that is the only reason we're able to make this show. So please, we appreciate your support. If you can go check out the Patreon at patreon.com/BSB. And we have been talking about some new additional perks in addition to what you get, in addition to the Discord server, access to all of that. So please, if you can check out patreon.com/BSB, we appreciate it. We appreciate these picks of the week that all of you turned in. What's up for you this weekend for Magic? Anyone got anything going on? Cass, you've got the RCQ now in the bag.
Yeah, I'm playing a team tournament this weekend. It's the first time I'm allowed to play one at my own store because I'm no longer in ownership role there. I'm playing with two of the most powerful Magic players I know, and I believe any result other than first place will be a disappointment. But they have me in the legacy seat, so we got one win locked up every round.
Hey,
just
there you
relying on
go.
the other two schmucks to make sure we cross the finish line.
I've been grinding after doing the NRG last weekend. I've been grinding Pioneer Dredge, and it's been very fun. The new card Dredger's Insight from Aetherdrift has turned the deck up to basically 1 million, because you can just get a couple triggers off of it and gain 3 life from creatures leaving your graveyard to trigger your Silver Smoke Ghouls, which were previously pretty difficult to get back. The deck's really there. If you're somebody, Pioneer, no one talks about it right now because it was kind of taken off the competitive schedule for this particular year. But it's in a pretty decent, I mean, there was a lot of Rakdos Demons, but there's a lot of fun decks that you can play as well. So I know that's what I stayed up late last night grinding. I'm trying to get to Mythic this season with it. DJ, Jason, you got anything coming up?
Well, I'm not going to be grinding on any demons or whatever you were talking about.
Sorry for you.
I am home for the next month, which is a rarity for me. I'm going to take a nice needed break after traveling to Chicago, then the UK, then Charlotte.
Pretty busy.
I am closing in on finishing up Tears of the Kingdom Depths. What are they called? Shrines? Light Stones or whatever?
I don't know.
Getting closer to that, so...
Yeah, a big weekend for everybody.
It's exciting.
We got the Arena Championship in 2 weeks. The Denver Spotlight Series is next month. I'll be there for work, I think. So we'll see how it goes. So that, I think, wraps it up for us this week here at Brainstorm Brewery. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Shout out to our sponsor, MTGstocks.com. Of course, appreciate them. Shout out to our patrons for patreon.com/BSB. This is Brainstorm Brewery. We'll see you next week, everybody.